Hey everyone, and welcome in. My name is Talu, and on this channel I make faith-based videos to encourage you as you fight the good fight of the faith daily. Today's video is actually going to be in response to a comment I got on one of my previous videos asking me to basically share from my personal experience on what it looks like to shine your light and share the gospel, especially when you're in secular environments, whether that be your workplace, in your friend group, or even in your own home, And so that's what we're going to be diving into today. I will be splitting this into two different videos. So today we'll talk about sharing the gospel, and then I'll make another video talking about shining your light. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And let's just go ahead and jump right in. So when it comes to sharing the gospel, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, this is something I definitely struggle with, especially when I'm around non-believers. And it's because I feel like our current cultural climate can be hostile almost to Christian beliefs. And so I feel like you always have to be in defense mode almost when engaging in conversations about Jesus, about the gospel. And while I know we should always be ready to defend our faith, as 1 Peter says in chapter 3, verse 15, not all the time am I in the mood for that. You know what I'm saying? I've definitely had my fair share of conversations where, I've been scoffed at for what I believe and even belittled almost for the faith that I have. And so honestly, I find it so much easier to just keep things to myself and let everybody keep their own peace. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell y'all, it is so easy to just not talk about it because literally no one would complain if you didn't bring up Christianity, didn't talk about Jesus, didn't talk about the gospel. And so, that doesn't help. But I've realized that me not sharing the gospel with someone is actually doing them a disservice because, the truth of Christianity is not something that just affects our temporal earthly lives, it affects our forever eternal lives too. And so that's why Jesus calls us in Mark chapter 16 verse 15 to go out into the world and to proclaim the gospel to the whole creation. But now if you're like me, this Great Commission can make you feel very pressured and almost burdened by the responsibility of it, because it's not every day that you want to go up to someone and be like, can I tell you about what Jesus Christ did on the cross for you, in an effort to get them to believe. I feel like the world is just not really set up for that anymore, in whatever that might mean. But that's why I feel like this passage in 1 Corinthians chapter 3 has really helped me take some of that pressure off, and help me to understand that it's not my job to get someone to believe in the gospel or to believe in Jesus, but it's simply my job to help plant the seeds and pray that God would finish the work. This is what Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 3 as he's talking to the people of Corinth and explaining basically what his role is in sharing the gospel. He says in verse 6, I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the growth. So neither he who plants nor he who waters is anything, but God who gives the growth. And skip to verse 9. For we are all God's fellow workers. And so these verses have really helped me to understand that it's not me that's going to make the flower blossom, but I can help, plant seeds and sprinkle the water in an effort to partner with God in cultivating his field. Does that make sense? And so I know the follow-up question to this would be, well, how do I plant the seeds? How do I sprinkle the water? And honestly, I feel like the easiest answer to this would be to simply share your testimony. I know for me, I used to think that my testimony had to be, dramatic and complex in order for it to make an impact, but that is simply not the case. Your testimony can be as simple as acknowledging how God, allowed you to get that job or get into that school, or how he provided housing for you at a time when things were looking really uncertain. You get what I'm saying? It's in these small ways of acknowledging God that we can plant seeds. And honestly, you never know how your testimony will land on someone's heart and what kind of questions and conversations can come from that. Your testimony can actually be the sprinkle of water to a seed that someone else planted earlier in the week, you know? And so these are the things that can slowly help that plant to grow. One of my favorite verses is Hebrews chapter 13, verse 15, which says, "Let us continuously offer up a sacrifice of praise to God, that is the fruit of lips that acknowledge his name." I just love knowing that me acknowledging how God, came through with a bomb parking spot yesterday, for example, is not only sharing a testimony, but giving praise to God, as this verse said, just by acknowledging his name. So let's be careful to not underestimate how powerful it can be to share even the smallest ways that God is moving in your life, okay? Okay, so now to summarize my points of this video. Number one, while it can be so easy and tempting to just not bring up Jesus, not bring up the gospel in conversations with others, we are called to do that. And that is how we show our love for people, by sharing the truth of the gospel. Number two, it is not our job to get someone to believe in the gospel, but it's simply our job to commit to partnering with God, to planting seeds and watering the field. And number three, we can do this by simply just acknowledging the ways that God is moving and working in our lives. You really never know how your testimony will land on someone's heart and how that can lead to opportunities to share more about the gospel, okay? I really hope this video helped encourage you as you navigate how to share the gospel in your daily lives. And if you have anything that has helped make sharing the gospel easier for you, please leave it in the comments down below. We would love to hear it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, let's keep fighting the good fight of the faith, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!